My name is Nicole Sarmiento. I am Emma's event manager. Very welcome to everyone in this Rock Metal Managers meetup. We're going to be discussing building your fan base direct to fan. And it's really lovely to see everyone here. Just a little bit about us. Within Emma, we unite music manager organizations across 16 European countries, which represent more than 3,000 managers across Europe. We've made it our mission to strengthen European managers globally through our Empower program, which encompasses education, advocacy, networking, and research. Empower is a project co-founded by the European Union. So if you guys want to know more about us, or if you want to stay up to date with upcoming events, make sure to visit our website, follow us on social media, and join our WhatsApp group. Sign up to our newsletter if you can, and you can find all those links at the chat. Jess has already posted them. So within the chat, there's also a general manager's contact list where you can leave your contact details and find details of other people. And after you log off Zoom at the end of the session, there's going to be a super brief survey that will pop up. Please make sure to take a moment to fill it out and leave your feedback, as it'll help us massively to improve the upcoming events. Just as a reminder, there will be a time for some questions. Please write them in the chat. And if there is a question that resonates with you, give it a thumbs up or a heart emoji so we can make sure it gets answered. Today's event is moderated by one of our steering committee members, Urs. So without further ado, let's get into it. Over to you, Urs.
Hi, everyone joining us in here tonight at Emma's Rock and Metal Steering Committee's panel. Tonight, we are dedicating the panel to fan reach and to the topic strategies for building communities, meaning living in the day and age of social media and multiple digital platforms. All of these platforms and partners collect data, but for them, not for the artists themselves. And thus we question, how do we navigate around the plight? How do we as artist managers get a hold of what we want to know from our customers? How do we build a community around our artists, or how do we know who the audience is? And for tonight's panel, I'm super excited to have two experts on this and its follow-up subjects. And I would like to welcome Grant Tilbury from Open Stage in the UK and Sebastian Kroll from FanKlub, based in Germany and Austria. And why don't you guys introduce yourselves briefly in maybe 2 to 3 sentences, or give us a short background on you? Whoever wants to start.
Will I go first? Thanks, Sebastian. Hello, everybody. Lovely to be here. Thanks to Emma for hosting today. I'm Grant, and I am head of artist success at Open Stage. So I look after all of our industry relationships for the business. Open Stage is a fan relationship management system. So we enable artists to have controllership over their fan data. So fans sign up and into the artist directly. Fans don't sign into Open Stage. We just enable the relationship to happen. So we've done lots of interesting work, from developing artists through to global superstars. The highlights of the last 12 months, for example, is we were the company behind the registration for the EACEA Live 25 World Tour. We've recently done the Radiohead live dates across Europe. And we've also helped artists understand who their fans are, where they are, and enable them to develop robust direct-to-fan communities.
Nice to meet you, Grant. My name is Sebastian.
Nice to meet you.
I'm based in Hamburg, Germany, and I run a PR agency and label called Backseat here, working in that branch since 15 years now, and since around about 4 years, we're doing FanKlub, which is a digital way for artists, to communicate with their audience, with their community, without algorithms, in their safe space, and also to make a living from that. So it's a membership model, subscription-based digital fan club. I will tell you more details in a minute.
All right. Thank you, the two of you. So let's dive into your company stories then. And I would love to start with Grant. Grant, I got two questions in one actually for
Okay.
the beginning. And one is what your motivation was to start Open Stage. What was the initiation? And what does Open Stage stand for?
Two very great questions. So our why, the reason we started Open Stage is that my co-founder, one of the co-founders, Rob, doesn't come from the music industry at all. Comes from direct D2C, direct to consumer in the insurance businesses. And whilst he was asked to look at a problem in the music industry, he realised that actually, well, there's no artists don't know who their customers are. In any other business and any other industry, you know who your customers are. It's how you build your business. You want to have complete visibility on who your fans are, who your customers are, where they are, what level are they at? Are they repeat customers? Are they brand new to your service, your product, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call that. And the music industry is typically siloed. There's 4 or 5 businesses all in one. So you've got the live business, the recorded business, the merch business, the publishing business. A lot of the same fans do the same things across all those different touch points. So our motivation for Open Stage was there wasn't one platform that you could log into as an artist manager and kind of go, where are my fans and how do I talk to them directly? Because they were all siloed into all of these different into these different silos. And our motivation, our values is that we believe that fans want access to their artist directly. They don't want to when they're signing up to an artist, they think they're signing up to their favorite artist, not necessarily Ticketmaster or Live Nation or Universal Music Group. They think they're signing up to their artist when in actuality they're not. In most cases, so we want our whole mission is that we believe that the artist should control the fan relationship, have visibility, should be able to talk to their fans whenever they want to. And that's our whole, we believe that the artist should control that relationship and then fans should get a better experience. So that's kind of like the motivation behind, behind what we do. And we're very passionate about artist-fan relationships, and we're trying to rebalance the industry to that end.
Okay, and what does Open Stage do then again for artists or managements that represent their artists?
Okay, so we are a system, a platform that enables you to run a direct-to-fan business. So what it looks like is you sign into your artist account, and then we give you all of the tools to acquire fans in the first place. So we give you a phone number, for example, that fans can contact you directly, or contact the artist directly, QR codes, landing pages, link pages. We have a fan base API that allows you to turn your website into a more interactive space. So we've just done that with Gorillas. We're launching today, for example, where every time a fan clicks on anything on the Gorillas website, information is going back to Gorillas and their management team, so they have visibility on fan behaviors, etc. And then we allow you to search different audience segments. So for example, say you wanted to run an activation in Amsterdam to fans that are based there that stream your music on Spotify. You can search fans in Amsterdam that have or haven't given a pre-save on Spotify or Apple Music, fans that might have purchased merch or your music or your album, and you can make that part of the criteria. So you can super serve fans that have done things with you in the past. And then you can communicate directly with them. You can send them an email. You can send them a text message. You can drop music in their libraries. Or you can direct them to a fan space where they can talk to one another on a forum. So it's that kind of thing. Everything that we do enables that relationship to happen. So fans don't have to sign up to an Open Stage account. They just have to sign up to a Foreigner account or a Europe account or an Oasis account. So Oasis have their Oasis MyNet, which is powered by us, but to the fan it looks like and feels like they are signing up to Oasis. So that's what Open Stage is, and what we provide is the back end, the system that the managers or the label people or your live agent can log into and see all of this data and see what's going on with your core fan base.
Okay. What sounds very simple at first glance might become a bit tricky. Where do you retrieve that information from? Where do you retrieve the, let's say, phone numbers, the email addresses from? Because if it was as easy, everyone was having them.
Mm-hmm. So this relies on the fan to give you that information. So when you present a landing page in front of a fan, they're giving you their name, their location, their phone number, their email. We're not scraping anything. We're not pulling this information from Instagram and saying, "Oh, here's your data." This is all about your fans giving you their information because they want to hear from you. They want to connect. They want a deeper relationship with their favorite artist. And so that's how fans are coming in. We also connect with Upper Five, for example, Merch Table, Okra, Music Glue. So these D2C stores that you can set up, you can connect them into your database. So every time somebody buys a T-shirt or a hoodie or an album bundle, that information is also coming into your data set. So we connect up with different with different partners as well that you might be working with. We also connect with Spotify, for example, with Apple Music, with Deezer, where there's a basic API, so you can collect pre-saves from fans, and that then allows you to drop music in their library whenever you want. So if you've got a single coming out, you don't have to keep asking the fans pre-save this single, pre-save this album. You just do it once. They connect their Spotify account to your artist database, and then whenever you want to drop music in the library, you can. Even if you want to just share, it also works well for catalogs. So there's a lot of artists that we work with that have repertoires and they want to encourage streaming around anniversaries. So, for example, I've been working with a team that manage Europe in recent weeks, and there's an anniversary this week of Prisoners in Paradise. And they've gone to their core fans and said, "Hey, what's your favorite songs on this album?" Here, and embedded a Spotify player, so fans can go and listen to remind themselves of what that album sounds like, and then they can say, "Well, these are my favorite tracks off this album," and all that information is on that fan's profile within their database. So then that gives the management and the band another level of information. So they might want to use that information to tailor set lists in the future. They might want to use that information to coordinate merch and products that are pertinent to the fans' choices. So there's lots that you can do with connecting all of these different things into one central place, because fans buy tickets and they buy albums. They don't just do one or the other. And you can work all of these things out if you can bring it all into one centralized data set.
So is it okay to say that OpenStage is some sort of a background check or a body scan in the virtual background without customers seeing it?
Yeah, it's the artist. We're a data processor, so we don't own the relationship. We enable the relationship to happen between artist and fan. So the artist is the one that has, from a compliance perspective, they're the ones that hold marketing permissions for you to talk to the fans. They are the data controller. Fans always own their own data. I just want to make that really clear. Me as Grant, as a fan, I own my own data, and I give Foreigner permission to use, to message me. But they control the relationship with me for it. So that's how that kind of works in that sense. And anything the fan sees is branded as the artist. So when Foreigner gives you a link, or a landing page, or a phone number, or a multi-link page off a link in bio in Instagram, it's branded as Foreigner. I mean, at the bottom there's a little powered by Open Stage, but it's to the fan, you are signing up and into your favorite artist, not to us. We're enabling that relationship to happen, but we don't control that relationship.
And with the results generated out of the data, do you then also recommend measurements on how to optimize upcoming interaction with fans, for example? I mean, what's the process in there?
Absolutely. Well, fan journeys are different. I might be a fan. I might be a fan of a band for 40 years and been on a Facebook group, for example. And I might come into a fan's database by a link that I've seen in a post, and I've come in there. Or it might be a brand new fan that's just heard the band for the first time on an algorithmic playlist, and I'm absolutely obsessed with this music. I need to go and learn more. I then go on Instagram, and then all of a sudden there's a link that links me to the artist's website or the artist landing page where I can put my details in and learn more information. So what we can do in the system is we can create audiences based on all sorts of things. How long a fan has been a fan of yours, whether they've connected their Spotify or not, whether they've bought a t-shirt or been to a gig or not. And you can get really granular with different segments. We allow you to segment your audience and talk to your audience in different ways. You might want to talk to fans that have bought every album, been to 5 shows very differently to somebody that's just come into your community. If somebody's just come into your community for the first time, you might want to kind of slowly onboard them and welcome them in, explain about the narrative of the artist. You might not know this, but this band has been going for 40 years, or you might not know this, but we've just started out and we're on our journey. We want you to come on this journey with us. And that's the kind of community that we're helping our artists build. And it's about onboarding those fans in that way. And one of the biggest pain points that I come across with managers particularly, because managers are across the entire artist business. They're not just looking after the streaming or the live business. They're looking after the whole thing. So they see the problem more clearly than other areas of the music industry. And one of the biggest pain points at the moment is this reliance on social media. It's really difficult. You might have 100,000 people or 10,000 people on Instagram. Every time you do a post organically, you only get, at the moment, the latest figures is you're only really reaching 5% of your audience. And that's really hard, especially when you've got a really important announcement coming up. If you've got 10,000 people, you think you're hitting 10,000 people, you're only hitting 1,000. So or 500. So it's really important to kind of try and get first party data into your database, because then when you do have an announcement, you can hit 10,000 people, not 500. And I can imagine a lot of the managers here, because I speak to a lot of managers week in, week out. Running social ads, running digital ads on social media is very expensive, and you don't always get complete visibility on how those campaigns are done either. So what we advocate for is week in, week out, nurturing, bringing fans into your system, speaking to them, working out who's who, working out who's a passive listener and who's a super engaged fan who's buying things and wants to be super served, wants to know more. And then that allows you to have less reliance on those platforms. They're really good for getting it into new people's eyes and ears, and you should always have a social strategy. I'm not saying leave social media at all. What I'm trying to say is be smarter with social media. Use it for that end. Bring people in, and then when they're in, you can work out. You can make sure that I know that I've sent this email to 10,000 people, and 60% have opened it, rather than kind of I've posted this post up, I have no idea who it's reached.
Yeah, I think that also covers a lot of Sebastian's company, which we'll come to momentarily, FanKlub. But still with you, Grant, since we're all artist managers in here, how do we utilize Open Stage then for our artists? Is it genre independent? Do we just simply sign up with you on your website, or how does it work?
It's not genre specific. It kind of talks. We have rock artists on Open Stage. We have classical artists on Open Stage. We've got Bad Bunny, Latin American superstar. But it's the same problem that every artist. You don't know who your fans are unless you get them into a database and speak to them. So that it's the same problem. Doesn't matter what size you are, even you could be have millions of fans or only a couple of hundred fans. It's the same principles and the same problems that you're facing. And as for accessing Open Stage's tools, It's simply you go onto the website and you sign up for an account. So and then when you get into the account, you have all the tools to set up landing pages, QR codes, phone numbers. You can then start publishing those things, bringing fans in, working out who they are, and then emailing them, sending them text messages, or sending them to your website where they can talk to each other in a forum. So that's all available to to managers who are interested in super serving their core audience, talking to their core audience, and building a direct to fan strategy.
And is it I, like for any band? I think you already said, I mean, it doesn't really matter which stage you're at in your career or which size you have with your following. So it's regardless of how big your following is, right?
Absolutely. So we do a lot of work with brand new artists. I think my favorite case study is there's an Irish artist called Kingfisher, who started from a standing start, basically zero on Instagram and TikTok and zero on YouTube and zero. But they started a strategy from scratch with us, where every single post, if you wanted to learn about it, watch it first, win it, buy it, you had to kind of go through a Kingfisher owned landing page to get access to it. So what they were doing is they were collecting emails, collecting phone numbers from these people week in, week out. They were going to fans' living rooms and doing house concerts, signing up their friends of friends, and they were doing it the old school way. And now they have they started with us 3 years ago. We had a really great management company who was getting them great opportunities. So they were supporting people like George Ezra and Dermot Kennedy, and they were putting QR codes on the screens and getting fans to sign up to their database. And then they were talking to those fans, more importantly, rather than just ignoring it. Every week, sending a message, a small email out to these fans, check this out, come on this journey with us. And now they've had a top 10 album in the UK, a number one in Ireland, and they're doing a stadium of 25,000 people next year, which is, for an artist that started 3 years ago, I think that's pretty miraculous. And that's just because they've actually gone in there and they've done the work, they've done the graft, they've acquired the fans, they've spoken to them, and they're reaping the rewards of that now.
Great, sounds very good. Now, in all honesty, we're all pretty much in the same boat. It's all about budget. Is this a service that's pretty much affordable for any artist, or is it quite costly?
It's our pricing is entirely based on how many contactable fans you have. So up to 11,000 fans, it's £100 a month, which I think equates to around 120 euros, maybe. I can't remember the latest conversion rates. So that's the start, and then as you grow your fan base, the cost increases dependent on how many. When I say contactable fans, I mean fans that you have permission to contact. So you might bring in a data set of 20,000 fans, but only 11,000 are actually contactable because that's what you have permission for. But we'd only charge you on 11 rather than 9, if you see what I mean. So that's how the pricing is structured. We are looking at we're a pretty early stage company. We're sort of 4 or 5 years old. We built this customer by customer, and we've got we're still in very much those sort of early stages. So we are looking at kind of like how can we create a tier or product that is potentially a bit more accessible for artists just starting out. We're well aware of that. In order for us to build business and to serve more people, we've had to have taken this approach. So that's the pricing strategy at the moment. That will change in time. But however, what I will say is that lots of smaller artists have used Open Stage. They've created fan club tiers using our fan base API, and they've been able to create a revenue stream that pays for Open Stage and some. And once they're connecting their store up and they're running birthday automations and sending fans to their sending fans to their merch store, just the uptake in the uptick in merch sales is more than paying for the cost of running a system like Open Stage in the first instance. So I think it's what you do with it. I've got a small artist that has got 400 or 500 fans, but he's got 30 fans paying him €10 a month, and that's giving him a new rate income stream, and it's paying for the upkeep of the system.
Thanks. Yeah, that already explains my last question before we move on having Sebastian talk a little bit about FanKlub. But if you had, let's say, 30 seconds doing the elevator pitch on explaining the benefit for artists or managers in joining Open Stage, what would you say, other than what you just said before?
No, but I think the benefit is that you are protecting the artist's interests. You're building a database that can be used time and time again. You can grow that. You can, if you know who your fans are, you can nurture them. You can build value over time. We've seen artists that have got fans that are paying in excess of €200 to the artist every single year for the last 5 years, and they're very valuable contacts. You need to know who those people are, so you can continue to super serve them and continue your journey. You can continue to grow your fan base over time. So it's all about future-proofing your artist business. Creating a really, really rich data set that you can use year in, year out.
That's what this is all about, knowing your fans, knowing your relationship. Thank you very much, Grant, for telling us about Open Stage up to here. We'll be back with you shortly after Sebastian. And if anyone in the audience has some questions, you can put them in the chat so we can go through some questions afterwards. Sebastian, now that we had Grant explain Open Stage, for a moment, I felt as if that platform can also analyze quite some of the data that could be of importance to fan club bands, right?
Definitely, and yes, I think we're really starting from a common ground. I think Grant and we at FanKlub, we totally agree that thousands of Instagram and Facebook followers are not really worth anything. So you try to get the first party data and try to make usage of it. So where FanKlub comes in, so I guess Open Stage is a great tool, and Open Stage might tell you, okay, this customer or this person is ready to go to a first show of your band because they 1 or 2 times clicked on something. And Open Stage could also tell you, you should really invite this person to your fan club because he's been at 3 shows now and he has all the records, and this is where FanKlub comes in. So we are kind of the last step, and what you also said, Grant, so really knowing your data and knowing your fans enables you to also communicate in a good way with the very most important of your fans. And at FanKlub, we give them the chance to directly support you financially. I think that's the biggest thing we bring in with FanKlub. So as I said, it's a subscription model where the fans pay a monthly or yearly fee, and 90% of the money that is paid there goes to the artist directly every month. This is the biggest benefit we want to give them.
All right, so FanKlub, pronounced like the traditional fan club everyone knows, but spelled with a K in the middle instead of the C. I think the link is shared in the comment section already. Like back then, it was a lengthy process to subscribe to your favorite artist's fan club, and maybe you receive 2 to 3 months later that very one fan club's print magazine once a year. That was back then. In fact, FanKlub in 2025, you're digital, you're app-based, as you say. Can you tell us a bit what your key market observations were when you initially started FanKlub? A little bit like a similar question that I raised with Brand. What drove you and your partners back then?
Yeah, I think the biggest teaser was also back then we were already starting working as a label and PR agency, and I remember working with a band from Latvia. They had a sold-out tour coming up, and then COVID came and they could not play this tour, and they said, "Damn, we're bankrupt. And it feels so weird because we know there are so many people that want to support us, that like our music, that want to come to a show. But instead of playing sold out shows, we're now bankrupt. And it felt so weird. And we discussed with the manager that it would be a great idea to set up a fan club where you ask all of these fans for direct support because they want you to keep doing what you do. They want you to come back on stage when it's possible. And we figured out that this very simple and basic idea is not something which works out during a pandemic, but also part of that because the usual income streams, getting less and less. It's really hard for an independent artist to make money. So we set that up, and I think it's a good idea because we see it works for several artists already. They have a couple of hundred fans, and they pay them an average on our platform like €4. So they make a couple €1,000 every month with that, just because they dare to ask their community for support.
Okay, that sort of a subscription model reminds me a bit of services like Patreon, for example. Not that this is a competition, but Patreon or other like services, what are the most obvious advantages for artists to open up their very own fan club?
Yeah, compared to Patreon, I think the biggest difference is that we're Europe-based. So they closed all their European offices, I think 2 or 3 years ago. And also FanKlub only deals with musicians and bands. So we're very focused. And having the fact that we're all music managers, running labels, etc. So we really provide one-on-one services. We help you with the marketing and how to set up your fan club. And also FanKlub is a bit easier than Patreon, I would say, because it's easier to communicate. That's what a lot of artists tell us. And also our subscription model is always €1.99 or more. It's not that you offer different tiers, like for $10 you receive this, and for $20 you receive that. And we make really good experience with offering at this low barrier entrance. And we see that people who want or can pay more, they do it. But the barrier is very low to welcome everybody in. So it's a very emotional feeling of, become a member of the club. It's nice here. There are no algorithms. Let's get independent from the big tech socials. Everybody or more people like this idea. And it not always has to be about this financial communication. Like there are a lot of artists who say, come in here. Yes, it also costs a little bit, like a coffee per month or so, but it's worth it.
Yeah, okay. And the added value for the band, what can be incorporated into the fan club?
Yeah, so there are different advantages. One thing is also collecting data. I can only agree with Grant. It gets more and more important. So we share all the data that we receive from the fans when they sign up and pay. So we have their invoice address, we have their mail address. We share that with the artists. So different to when you grew your Facebook or Instagram profiles and you have thousands of users, then they don't have any value by now. We don't want to be just another next platform where you drive your audience, and after a couple of years you cannot use it anymore. So we decide to share all the data. That's one big thing. And also on FanKlub, similar to Open Stage, we also offer options to use the data directly. So for example, on FanKlub, you can send direct messages to your fans. You can filter them and say, my tour just got announced. I want to send a direct message to all of my fans in Berlin because we have a show there. Then all of your fans in Berlin receive a push notification when they have the app, and they receive an email. So they're aware of that. So it's a very direct communication without algorithms. I think the difference to Open Stage is that everything is for free for the artists. So they don't pay for using FanKlub at all, not for sending messages or for using it. The only ones paying are the fans, and their share gets split.
Now artists might say, but this applies to both of you, although I think with FanKlub, that you probably have to be a bit more active, whereas with Open Stage, you can let the data work for you. But with FanKlub, artists might say, just another platform we have to feed. Is it a must for artists to always be active and to always communicate on just another platform with their fans?
It's not a must. You could also say, please just pay me. I don't give anything back, but you can be sure I'll be back on tour at some point, or there will be new records. But I don't think we have any artists doing it that way. But so the community where we come from as an agency, 99% of the artists we work with, they're also fed up with taking care of yet another platform. So we build it in a way, speaking of this low barrier entrance with just €1.99 or more, it gives you the opportunity to really get the people in. Sorry, I lost my point.
That it's just another platform that people have to feed.
Yeah. So speaking of content pressure, etc. Thanks, Urs. So we really encourage them to see it in a different way. So it's a far slower platform. So on FanKlub, most artists that use it only post something like once a month. So it's more about quality than quantity. It's not about sharing the all-day life on another platform. It's about giving away guest list or asking your audience what merch would you prefer next? Is it caps or shirts, or ruffling, test pressing, things like that, which are really of worth. And whenever you do that, you should announce it on your existing mailing list or on the socials and let the people know that a fan club exists. Otherwise, it won't be successful. But it's really not about setting up content pressure. I'm really convinced of that, and the artists also reflect that. And I think the biggest reward, you don't have that anywhere else, is okay, you actually get paid for this. So when you see that, okay, you do a posting, you give something away like a meet and greet or so, or I also really like the ideas when it happens in the analog world, when bands say we raffle a meet and greet, or we, amongst the first 100 subscribers, we set up a little event where we play unreleased tracks for you. Let's see you in Berlin. So it's a thing where both fans and artists really get seen, and feeling valued of what they do, and that's a completely different feeling to what artists usually have in the digital world.
Do you face a lot of resistance? I already mentioned one, the common complaint, another platform. But do you face resistance in terms of people believing too much in their social media following still, or even old-fashioned newsletters with lousy opening rates maybe? Is that still an argument that you have to fight each time you're talking to maybe a management like us who do understand the broader picture, and artists who again think, but we got all our Facebook followers or all our Instagram, whatever?
No, I don't think so. So what we face is a big frustration with these platforms, in most of the cases. And yes, there are still a lot of bands who really take advantage of these pages. And I totally agree with Grant. It's not about getting away from them, getting away from Instagram and Facebook, but you really have to ask yourself on this stage, how do I use it wisely? And it's not about pushing the numbers up there, but it's about try to converting these people to different platforms. The biggest resistance I see is that the artists don't dare to speak about money. That's really something where we feel, okay, the artists that dare to do so, that are very transparent with, yes, it's a struggle making money with this, or who have done one or two crowdfundings, they feel very comfortable. And we always feel the appreciation of the audience. But if you don't ask your audience to help you, they have no chance to do so. I think maybe you witnessed that. I see it a lot of times when artists speak about how difficult it becomes. how frustrated they are with Spotify revenues, etc. There's so many comments on what can I do? How can we help? And then most artists say like, yeah, come to our shows, buy a record. And yeah, that's one thing, but it's not that sustainable.
I understand. Well, if there was, if you weren't asking, there was no Patreon, there was no GoFundMe. So you have to be communicative a bit. Can you give maybe some case studies, examples where bands, artists applied FanKlub and came out very happy or are still with you probably?
Yeah, just to also demonstrate the different approaches, how you can use FanKlub. So there's one band called Black Sea Dahoo from Switzerland. They're an indie band. They play 500 to 1,000 capacities all over Europe. They have 100,000 followers on Instagram, and they keep telling, oh, damn, we're only reaching 1,000 or so with our stories. So they use FanKlub. They have 700 members right now. On average, they pay €4. So we already paid them 50,000 euros in the last 3 years, and for them it really makes a difference. They keep telling to the audience. So at live shows they have postcards with them with QR codes and say, yeah, this is really what makes us independent from all the shit that happens in the industry. Everybody wants to take the share, but we can just make it directly, you as our community and we as the artists. And I just met the manager at Reeperbahn Festival, and he was so confident to keep growing. So the next tour is starting soon, and he says soon we will be completely independent from streaming revenue, and it feels so good. So, and a different approach. So they talk a lot about please support us. That's their claim. There's a different artist from Vienna. They're called Volkshilfe. They're doing Mundart, pop, rock music, playing big shows in their area in Austria. And they don't talk about the money. It's completely different. But what they say, what they have is a lot of teasers. So when it's Mother's Day, they say, we send a message to your mother if you're a member in our fan club, or we spend a wellness weekend and we can go to sauna with 20 of you. And then everybody registers, and then they see, okay, it's €1.99 or more, but okay, it makes sense, I understand. So it's very different. They have a lot of content and they care a lot about the direct interaction. They spend a lot of time at the merch table, so that's how they do it. So you can use it as you like, but it's always about daring, to take a step into more independence of the big tech companies and really try it in a DIY way and dare to ask for money. How easy.
Understood. So you said it's $1.99 the least, or is there also a free way, or is it always a must to pay those?
We recently, just last week, opened the new feature that it's also possible as an artist to invite your fans to come in without paying anything, because a lot of artists ask for that. So the smaller ones who said, I don't know if we have enough paying fans already, and also the big ones who said, we don't like to speak about money with our fans, and we don't want to ask them for yet another thing to pay for, but we are interested in the data and reaching them without algorithms. So it's possible now for the artists, if they like, they can open their clubs for free. And what happens then is that the fans cannot comment or send you direct messages, but they can consume everything that happens. They can see the videos and demos or whatever you share there. They can visit the live stream, but they are never able to comment, which is an important thing for us because we experienced that FanKlub is really a safe space. So as there's a paywall, we never faced any hate or no bots, of course. It's really feel-good area for the artists to communicate with their audience. That's a really big thing for us. And we keep that by not enabling them to comment. And that's always a trigger for them as well, that maybe you want to support financially as well. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like a fair subscription model for fans and as an additional nice income for artists. So yeah, if this was the last chance, just like with Grant, why should artists engage in FanKlub or alike services? like fan club? Just in two sentences.
So was it a
Yeah,
question to me or to Grant?
No, this was for you. So
Sorry,
could
I
I
misunderstood.
tell the idea? Why
Um,
should artists engage with you?
because it's so easy, so you can set it up in 5 minutes, and you can go live with it. And even though you only have 20 fans from your friends and family in the beginning, you directly feel a big difference. It feels so much better than having a new follower on Instagram or TikTok, to see instead, okay, there's someone paying, and really values my art. Um, and then all the similar arguments that Grant has. So it's about building your database. It's about knowing your artists and making yourself more independent from big tech.
All right. Well, thank you, Sebastian, for this. Having discussed the two services, as I said initially, it makes me feel like the perfect match with the two of you. I don't know if you feel comfortable with that too, Grant and Sebastian. So maybe we should team up.
Yeah, no, I was just interesting that we all. I mean, I didn't say this at the start, but I come from a management background, and I managed lots of independent artists before my journey into music technology, and just understand. You know, it's the same problems that we're all trying to fight against, and what Sebastian said then, independence from from big tech. Meta knows everything about you. TikTok knows everything about you and your fans. You don't know about your fans but now you've got ways in which you can know who your fans are, and you can have that relationship. You can own it. You can control it, and that's really important in this day and age.
So you'd encourage people to, where you said you do still work with those socials. And you probably also benefit from the social stats that are available to you. But still, people shouldn't really just trust in socials only. Or would that be your encouragement for them?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about adapting your current model. At the moment, you rent your audience on those platforms. So you've got 100,000 people. Better rent that to you, because you think you get it for free. You don't, because you can't reach 100,000 people. They give you a platform, and then you're competing with your family and friends with their content, big brands, other bands, all sorts of stuff. So you need to. It's about signal to noise. You want to own that relationship, not rent it. So you want to use social media for what it's good for, which is getting in front of new people and new eyes, and using their algorithms for that aspect of it. But you've got to bring down the people that really care, the fans that are almost like, yeah, I follow you now, and I've listened to your record a bunch of times, and actually I want to know more about when you come in through my city. That's when they'll take the jump and they'll come across into your database. So it's about putting these tools underneath the social environment. Do you see what I mean? So you bring in people down that funnel into your database, because the people that are in the bottom of that funnel in your database are worth far more to you than the casual people that might like a couple of posts here and there, because they're your customers. They're buying a t-shirt every year, or sorry, they're buying a gig ticket every year. Every time you roll through Hamburg or Amsterdam or Madrid or London, they're the ones that are buying a t-shirt on Black Friday. They're the ones that are and that's generating income to your artist business. So they're the people that you really want to care about. You want to super serve. You want to know everything you can about them, because they're the ones that are going to keep coming. And Sebastian made a really good point a second ago about finding out fans' levels, experimenting with different pricing points. I mean, one of the most interesting case studies I can think of in sort of the last 20 years is when Radiohead put their album out, pay what you want model. They ended up having fans that paid $1, fans that paid nothing, fans that paid $100,000. So because they all wanted to support the artist in their own way, and everyone's got the different means. Everybody comes from different backgrounds, and fans come from different areas. Some fans want to support, some fans just want to take. And it's about working out who those people are. And if you can do that, and the only way you can do that is knowing who they are and getting the data and understanding it.
So, talking about what's next in bonding with fans, what's the future of bonding with fans? We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know. Are those socials that we are using right now, are they vanishing? Maybe there's some different models, some exaggeration of some socials coming up in the future. We don't know. But would you dare to forecast something, what's the next thing and how to interact, how to engage with your audience? I think both of you have models for a very smart, let's say, start. It's not new to interact with your audience, but for now, it's, you know, it's different from what the majority does.
Yeah, so I believe that the big social media platforms get more and more uncomfortable, not only for artists who already see it, that it's difficult to reach your audience, that they always want you to pay for it, etc., but also more and more for the normal users. So far, the numbers are incredible. They have so many users, and they spend a lot of time there. But the more bots they see, and the more hate speech they see, and it's not getting controlled, etc. So I believe it's not developing in a good direction, especially for artists when they want to use that. So my prediction is that luckily with FanKlub, we offer a really good solution, because I truly believe that a lot of artists are fed up with this, and they prefer to, instead of screaming out loud to potentially millions of people, plus a lot of bots these days, they prefer to communicate in a secure, safe space. It should be digital because everything else is not modern. But I think communicating behind a paywall and with verified people, yeah, it sounds like a step back in some, because it's a bit old-fashioned, but
sorry, as far as protection is concerned, I think fans crave connection. I think especially in this post-COVID world now, I think we are, you know, you can see it at live venues, this shared experience of music. I think it's a blend of technology. It's how do you bring real life and technology into the same space? Like, need some great innovations around that. You know, Youngblood's just got his he's rolling out these stores across the world. He's got his first on 20 Denmark Street in London, where fans can come in and claim a free coffee, and there's fan club, and you can scan it and all that. You know, and he's doing a lot of work around those type of things, but more about creating fan experiences. I mean, Fred again's a kind of an outlier, maybe in the last sort of year, or last 2 years, where he's done really interesting campaigns around, because he knows he has the ticketing data for fans that went to his first LA show, for example. It was a small club of 100 fans. He knows who they are. And then when he went back last year to play at the Rose Bowl, a massive stadium, he invited those 100 fans to the soundcheck experience before, and then he shot it for his social media. So he literally shot himself having a party at soundcheck with the first 100 fans that were at his show 3 years before. And then he had a whole stadium full of new fans. And then he put that together and he shared it with his community. He's a fantastic case study for artist teams that want to look at how to build genuine community. He's doing pop-up shows in local pubs as well as playing huge arenas. You know, he's experimenting with the fan experience, and bringing real world experience and a digital experience together I think we'll see more of that in the years to come.
All right. And as far as those D2C or direct to fans platforms are concerned, not just yours, but in general, do you forecast an increase, an extension in those services, or just certain services? If so, which? Is there anything that you would dare to predict at this point?
I think there'll always be. I think there'll be new social platforms. I think, you know, that's playing out in front of everybody's eyes. I think that it's a. I think the old logic is the same. You know, that if a new platform comes along and signing up people, you know, fans, whatever you want to call it, customers to their services, and then giving you a profile on there, it's the same problem persists. You still haven't got visibility on who those fans are because they're being rented on another space. So it's difficult to predict what will happen in the social media world. There'll be new innovative ways of reaching audiences, but as long as you're controlling the audience, if you're using FanKlub or Open Stage, it doesn't, as long as you're collecting that information and making an attempt to understand who your customers are, that's what's important. And as far as experiences goes, I think streaming's going to have an evolution. Socials are going to have an evolution. So, but the principles are still the same.
Okay, Sebastian, any last take or prediction?
Yeah, I agree. In my community, I witnessed that a lot of artists really more and more see the need in reacting and doing some things different than before. And I see that a lot of artists go back to very simple things like creating their own database at Excel or something like that.
Yeah.
Or starting a newsletter again. They had one 10 years ago and they're now trying to push it again. And I believe that things like Open Stage or FanKlub already took that idea up and give you more benefit. So, but so far, FanKlub and as well Patreon are not really something that broke through completely. So at Reeperbahn Festival, I still have to explain a lot about this model. So it's not as common. A lot of people don't know Patreon. A lot of people don't know FanKlub. So we are growing fine, but there's still a long way to go. To say, okay, every artist obviously uses this because it makes sense. We're still far away from that.
That's why it's good, I think, that we bring in those topics in here. That's why we bring in the discussion. Thank you for now, the two of you. I would love to open the floor for 2 to 3 questions from the audience, but I have to be honest, I have to quickly go through the comment section. I can see, and I think that Grant already answered one question. If the artists are tied to a contract, can they exit at any time? And you already answered that for Open Stage, that there's a 3-month initial term and then you can leave at any time. How does that work for FanKlub, Sebastian?
There are no costs involved for the artist to subscribe and to launch a club. So for artists, it's always for free.
And yeah, but then also taking it to the fan side, are they contracted? Are they?
So it's a monthly subscription, and they can cancel that every month. If it's yearly, then it's paid in advance. Then it's for 1 year that prolongs.
There's one longer question, and if you don't mind, I read it quickly. Maybe it got answered in the meantime, but I have to go through it real quick. How do you reliably get the data regarding who came to how many shows so that you can invite them to the fan club? Seems quite impossible to get the data from ticketing companies. I can't think of anything
Great question.
that may offer relevant results. Otherwise, how many fans would you get? One every year when they book a ticket from certain super unpopular platforms that offer artists the possibility to see who came to their shows.
Yeah, great question. We deal a lot with that with the different ticketing companies. Traditionally, ticketing companies would not share the data at all. I know there's a lot of compliance laws in Europe, especially I think Germany's particularly strict when it comes to data sharing. What we have found is that Ticketmaster have now set a precedent. They've actually shared the data directly back to artists, which is a first. So that was within the last 12 months. So you can request the data if you go on the Ticketmaster. If you go on the Ticketmaster website and look at their policy with data sharing, it states since I think it's February 2018, and this is related to a Taylor Swift. Can't think of the word. Sorry, it's related to Taylor Swift and a change in the law around around data sharing. And essentially, what they say is that we will share the data with the artist, the promoter, and the venue. So they reserve the right to share it with the artist, the promoter, or the venue. And I can link to that. I can send it into the. I just joined the WhatsApp group, so I'm more than happy to. I'm real happy to join in the Emma Managers Meetup group that I've just been invited to. So I'll put it in there. But essentially, it says we will share the data with the artist, the venue, and the promoter. It's unfortunately it's up to us managers to go and have that tough conversation with Ticketmaster and the promoter, saying, "Well, you say it on your website. Please give it to us because it's a big importance to us." That's how we know who went to whatever shows happened in the past. And what we're doing as a company with our clients and our partners is having those conversations with Eventim, with AEG, with Access. This is rather than you holding the data and not using it. We're talking to them. If you give it to us, we can sell more tickets. We'll still use you as a ticketing platform, but let us speak to our fans that we know that have come and not. So it's a common good if they shared this data in the first instance, because fans want to hear from their artists. If you're a fan, you're not signing up to Ticketmaster, you're signing up to your favorite artist, right?
And they want to have your exclusive collaboration, right? And won't let you work with others. So that doesn't work either. Well, that's also the reality of our business, unfortunately. I would love to wrap it up for now because we are already as late as a little past 7. I think what we learned here is that our takeaways maybe for tonight, still don't rely on your social following only. Sites may be shut down tomorrow, or your accounts might be blocked from one moment to another. Know where your fans are, know how to reach your fans, convert your data into value for Open Stage, if I might say. Turn your fans into super fans because fans crave connection. So if that's what we can take from here, maybe it's a good starting point for everyone interested in building communities or extending communities. Well, thanks a lot, the two of you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time and for your expertise. Thanks everyone in the audience for joining. Make sure to follow Emma's sites before they are shut down. No, I'm just kidding. And maybe we should also run an app with everyone's contacts. But y'all have a great evening, everyone, and see you next time for our next Emma session. Good night from my end, and I think this recording is about to be ended, and the last official words are maybe with Nicole still to say goodbye. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Boris. Thank you, Sebastian.
Thank you so much.
Grant, just reminding everybody, please quickly, right after this call ends, fill up the survey. Your feedback is very much appreciated. And if you want to sign up for upcoming sessions, Jess had put the links in the chat box, so go click on that, and there's more other links of previous sessions about building fan bases in case you're interested. So thank you again, Urs, Sebastian, and Grant, and we'll see you guys next time.